Hi, my name's Rich. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I have uploaded a couple of videos on YouTube in the last couple of weeks or so, but just really wanted to show you around my my bikes, so you can see what I've been doing to them. Here goes. So, well, there we go. My first little pride and joy. This is a 1981 Honda CX500C. I bought it a couple of months ago as a non-runner and not done an awful lot to it. It doesn't need or didn't need an awful lot doing to it. Literally just had to change out a battery as the old one was just completely shot. I did try and give it a bit of a charge, but it was it needed repairing, and it sits basically under this left side cover here. The only other thing I really needed to do was get it started and just literally put a bit of fresh fuel in these carburetors, so left and right, just a quick drain, bit of fresh fuel, and it did actually fire up quite sweet. It's a very nice bike, it's got a very nice tone to it. The major thing, the reason why it was a non-runner, is the front brakes were inoperative. The master cylinder was leaking. There was literally no fluid in it, so I've just swapped it out with this sort of aftermarket unit, but in time I will just source a decent original part, because I think really a bike of this age needs to be kept as original as possible. But I've just literally bled the brakes, so it's ready basically to take out for a little test to see how it runs. Not on the main roads, but just sort of around outside the house, to just test the brakes are working before I go and get it MOT'd. A bike I've had for a little longer is this one here. I've had it for about 2 years, which is my Yamaha Virago XV535. It's a 92, so it's about 24 years old. And this bike, when I got it, was just a stock standard, very pretty, highly chromed factory bike, and I've done an awful lot to it, as you can see. So I've removed the bits I've removed, then front mudguard, chrome crash bars. I've removed the stock standard Mikuni carburetors. I've actually got those on eBay at the moment for sale. If you can see here, I'll probably grab a torch actually, because it's a bit dark in this garage. And you can see I've got a single Hitachi carburetor fitted with, let me go around the other side and I'll be able to show you the manifold. There you go. So that was made by a guy called Robert Kager in the States, Sierra guy, his YouTube name I think, and he is really good at this kind of thing. These look rough, but then this is actually a rat bike, so but it runs sweet. The brilliant thing about this is that you don't need to worry about taking the carburetors out to do the valve clearances. You can see you can get to those rockers really easy, on the inlet rockers and on the front. See it there, the front inlet rocker. The rear is a bit more tricky. Sorry, the front exhaust rocker I should say. The rear is a little bit more tricky because it is kind of buried, sort of buried a little bit down there, so you need to sort of take everything out to get to it, which is a bit of a shame anyway. But the major things I've done to this bike are, as you can see, I've just removed all the sort of the back end, so I completely chopped all of the metal work from the top of the shocks and back, and I made kind of a sort of a tidy cover just to go over where I'd sort of chopped it. So that's a relatively easy job to do, actually, very easy job to do. So I swapped out all the indicators all round because they weren't working, did all the electrics to get them working, and resighted the rear indicators, and as I did the sort of the rear light and brake light and number plate. So there was lots of little things that weren't working on this bike when I got it. The switchgear here wasn't functioning properly, so I stripped that apart. The flasher unit wasn't working, stripped it apart, cleaned it, working fine now. The warning lights weren't working, so a bit of a strip and clean there, fine. And the top tank, bottom tank, took those out, acid cleaned them, swapped all the fuel lines out, filters, changed the petcock on the lower tank, relined the tanks, all fine. And you can see I've kind of sprayed it up this sort of really rust effect rat look, and it really does look quite good. The bike in the sort of light of day does look like a very nice sort of ratty sort of chopper bobber really, and it does sound awesome with these straight through pipes. So I'm probably going to get this bike sold now, because I've had a bit of fun obviously sorting out all the mechanicals. I've not done any engine work to it at all, apart from just the valve clearances, and that's pretty much it, which is a relatively simple job. But yeah, sounds really good, really nice indeed. So just a bit of touch-up work there on the paint needed, but that's the whole point of a sort of a rat look bike. It's meant to look kind of rusty and best, you know, past its best really. So good on the inside, rat on the outside. So what I'm going to do with it today, as a kind of a last job, because yesterday I took the coils out. The coils sit just under this sort of cover here, and it was running a little bit poorly even after I changed the carbs out for the single carb, which is so much better, because you just haven't got any balancing to worry about. If you need to do anything on the carbs, they take 30 seconds to get off, not, you know, half an hour of wrestling them out from underneath the tank, as the twin stock Rakunis take back in and out. And it means you clear up all this sort of space under there as well, as I said, so you can get to, you know, what you need to. But it was still running a little bit poorly, so I changed the coils out. They'd sit just under that cover there, primarily because the HT lead on the rear cylinder was arcing, and the HT leads on this bike are integral to the coils. You can't replace, you can join them with connectors, but they leak electricity, they just arc, they're just useless. So anyway, so I changed the coils out. It was still running a little bit poorly, so I changed the plugs and plug caps, and it is sweet. So what I noticed is when I was pulling the plug cap on and off, if you pushed it fully on, the front cylinder wouldn't fire properly. If you sort of pulled it off and touched it on the plug, it did. So it's clearly a dodgy plug cap or plug. So anyway, changed it all out, a few quid. You know, job done. It's all nice. So what I'm going to do today is, as you can see, I've actually, as I've bled the brakes on the CX, I'm just going to bleed the brakes on this too. And it doesn't take Albert Einstein's favourite grandson, not that I think he was a hobby mechanic, but to work out that that is not good in a master cylinder. It is quite low, and it is absolutely dire. Whilst it looks low, this bike is actually on its side stand, so you can't really judge it. It needs really to be upright to get an accurate assessment, I think. Anyway, oh yeah, that's another thing I did, because this is the 92 bike. It had that kind of shorter tube stand fitted to it, a little bit like you get on, yeah, like this one that you've got on the CX there, that's just down, even though it's not sat on it at the moment. So a little bit like that. And what I did is I swapped it out for the later model, which is the lower, longer, sleeker unit. Only cost me a tenner on eBay, but job done. So I think it's made actually a very nice finish to the bike. Anyway, what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to go out ahead and bleed the brakes on here and get rid of all this nasty, what looks very broken down and very icky brake fluid. Yeah, it's doesn't surprise me it needs doing, because having got the bike all up and running up and down the road, it doesn't brake well. But then it does have obviously a rear drum brake and only a single pot front caliper. The later models did have an upgraded twin pot, so yeah, that might be something I'll do to it anyway. I haven't really decided whether to sell this or keep it and have it a bit of a play. Not the sort of bike you kind of want to ride long distances on anyway, so that's what I bought the CX for, so I can go and do a bit of touring on a good old classic bike. So obviously it's only a 500, and it's a relatively small bike for touring, if you like, but then I'm a relatively small bloke. I'm about 5'4" on a bad hair day, so there you go. And this one hiding in the back is my CB500. It's a 2002, and I've maintained it meticulously, and I've fallen off it more times than I can remember. and they're bulletproof. You can't go wrong with one of these. It's a massively robust bike, really good first big bike. It was my first big bike. I don't think I'll ever sell it. Yeah, I really enjoy that. And I've got a spare engine over there for it, which I've actually stripped down and rebuilt. It doesn't look stripped and rebuilt because it's relatively sort of pitted and all that kind of stuff on the outside. When you look at it, it's quite dirty still, but the inside is absolutely sweet. So yeah, nice to if you are a bit of a sort of a hobby mechanic like me. I do work behind a desk during the day, so it's nice to get the spanners out in the evening. But if you ever kind of want to have a go at doing your own mechanics, what I'd recommend is just buying a cheap engine on eBay and just stripping it down. You're not going to lose anything apart from just stripping down what might be already a broken engine and just seeing how it all goes back together. Good old Haynes manual, you really can't go wrong. Easy as, they're so easy to follow, and these engines are really easy to work on. You will need a few specialist tools, sort of oversized sockets and you know, torque wrenches and feeler gauges and all that kind of stuff. So you will need a few kind of mechanical tools if you haven't got them, but you can sort of pick those bits and bobs up and learn along the way anyway. So yeah, really enjoyed doing that. So I'm probably going to keep that as a spare for my CB. I might sell it on. I do need to reshim the valves. I did lap the valves back in when I put the you know, before I put the head back on. So the valves naturally tightened up a little bit, so they are a little bit tight. So I do need to reshim them. So yeah, there you go. Anyway, that's that really. I'm going to crack on and do my sort of brake bleeding here. Might upload a quick video just to show you what the outcome is. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your day.